So we've been in e-commerce marketing for over 11 years. And today we're going to go through 11 lessons that we learned in all the years of marketing e-commerce brands. And now I got into e-commerce back in the early 2000s. I was fortunate enough to grow up in the age of the internet. And I just loved business and loved technology and loved marketing. And the marriage of all those things was e-com, right? You could use marketing and technology and websites and all these different internet tools to actually sell something to somebody. And it was also a business and it was a model. And I just loved business. And so back in that day, I had started many e-commerce businesses and many marketing businesses, some very successful, some not so successful. And then over time, we began Metacake. And Metacake was initially created in order to service our own portfolio companies back in 2011. And so we had a small handful of portfolio companies that were in that space, e-commerce marketing technology, and we were servicing those companies. And shortly after that, we began to end up consulting with bigger brands and or some very big brands that needed help transforming their business from what was a traditional retail model over to direct consumer. And so even at that time in 2011, a lot of businesses weren't leveraging e-commerce the way that they could have been. And even though that's only, 10 years, 12 years ago, there still weren't the technologies that anywhere near that they are today to make it easy. And so we began to do that. And we had a lot of success with brands like Lennox, Glassware, and Walmart, and Macy's, and Nike, and all these kind of really big brands. And then we even took that to the mid-market or lower market to actually grow brands that were sort of viral brands from the ground up. And we had a lot of success doing that with brands like Groove Life, where we did over $10 million in 3 years of growth and profitably. And so if you fast forward that to now, at Metacake, we're business people that love and have a ton of experience in the e-commerce marketing world. But really it's e-commerce business, and that's kind of where our focus is. And so why does this matter to you? Well, this is where we can help most people. This is where we do help most people today, most brands, growing their direct consumer business using timeless business strategies and marketing principles rather than growth hacking and fad-based marketing, which is so prevalent in this area. And it's why we focus so much, if you listen to anything that we do, we focus so much on this idea of healthy growth rather than growth hacking, because healthy growth leads to sustainable long-term growth, and growth hacking based on fads or techniques that are gonna just work for a small period of time, often only work for a period of time. And then sometimes you end up blowing up your business without even realizing it overnight. And so if you fast forward to today, our mission is to be the source of successful, healthy e-commerce strategies for businesses of all sizes. And we do that through services. We do it through educational programs and content like the video that you're watching or the article that you're reading or maybe the program that you're in for us. We also do that through capital. And so that portfolio that we started with servicing has actually grown, and we have a capital arm called DOUGH Capital, where we acquire and grow our owned e-commerce businesses in the space. And so we're really deep and well-versed in this area. And we put all that experience into every service that we do, whether that's marketing strategy, email strategy, or web design. And so that's also why we do those three things. In the age of ads not working, marketing strategy and true timeless marketing principles are needed and critical because many of us have forgotten them. In the age where all platforms are unowned, Facebook, you don't own it. YouTube, Amazon, they can shut you down. In that age where all the platforms that you market on are unowned, email is necessary, and you must get your email program delivering consistent revenue that is growing if you're an e-commerce or really any brand. There's really no option to not own a channel and an audience that is not privy to the whims of all the other channels. And it's also why your website must convert well, and has to do with all the things. There are certain steps that, actually 9 steps, which we're going to go through in another video, that your website must walk a customer through. And it's critical that it's constructed intentionally if your business is going to survive and thrive. And so this is why we do these things. And today we're going to talk about the top 11 lessons that we've learned doing e-commerce marketing for the last 11 years. And this is kind of like a cheat sheet. Like, I thought through this, and we collected all these principles, and this is like the cream of the crop, some of the top things, some of the best needle movers that you can implement that we've learned that are part of this consistency of success. And each one of these has links to dig deeper, so you can go ahead and implement them as you go along. So first, let's jump into it. Number 1, brand matters. And we've dug into this a ton in the past. We have lots of different content where you can go deeper in this, but your brand is really your only barrier to entry. It's your only competitive advantage, and it's your best business asset. Your trademarks and your patents and all the other things, with all the protection in the world, can still be ripped off, but your brand can't. And if you build it in the right way, and I'm not talking about your logos and your content strategies and like how it feels. I'm not talking about those things necessarily. It's not a thing. It's really the purpose behind the thing. And if you figure that out and you develop your brand and you build it into an asset, it can be an asset that you can leverage to really grow your business and really protect your business. That's the first one. The second one is own your channels, own your marketing channels. And now in an age where we've given all our information and we've actually given our business success to platforms like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Google, in order to market to their audience, because it's not your audience, it's their audience. In that age where we've done that, we have found brands that don't even realize that they don't own any of their customer information. They don't own their customer data. And we've kind of dug into this in other places, which we'll link to. But your business value, if someone were to value your business, part of their valuation would be your customer list. And if you don't own that customer list, then your business value really significantly shrinks. You may have no value. And so in an age where we often do that, and we have to, you should be making sure that you are getting people into an owned channel. And that owned channel is email and SMS and maybe even direct mail. But where you can communicate with someone and you don't have to get the permission of a platform in order to do that, or you don't have to pay every time you want to talk to that person. That is where you need to be. But you can't just be in email. You need to have an email program that actually can grow and produce revenue and actually can grow your business. And really, email revenue should be at least 30% of your total business revenue. And so own your channels and focus on email. And we have a lot of programs that you can get into from us that can help you develop a really profitable paid e-commerce email program. Third, you want fans, not customers. And so we often say that the sale is the starting line. It's not the finish line, right? And so sometimes in the world of e-commerce, and especially in marketing, we get addicted to winning the sale, which is a great thing. But then we forget about the rest of the stuff after the sale, and we go back to winning a new sale, because that's kind of the drug that we're addicted to. The truth is that to build a profitable business, you need to create fans, not customers. And fans are created after the sale. You know, there's definitely some fan seeds that you need to be planting before the sale. But after the sale, with your customer service and your certain brand philosophies and your product delivery and your content and your future products and your product line and all these different things, that's actually what develops a fan. And when you can develop fans rather than customers, you have a very valuable business, a business that is sustainable long into the future. Think Tesla, think Apple, think some of these really just a handful of brands that have super fans. That's what you want of your business. And if you can do that, your business can be very successful. Number 4, the marketing system that you use must be able to scale and be efficient. All right. So think we all in the e-commerce world, we run promotions, we launch products, we are trying to run sales. We have massive Black Friday and Q4 sales and promotions that happen. All those things are part of a healthy e-commerce marketing calendar. But the challenge is it can quickly become unhealthy. They can quickly become where you're discounting all your products all the time and you become a discount brand and you don't even realize it. They can quickly be absolute chaos when you're trying to collect all the resources and assets and choose what your sale is going to be, what your promotion is going to be for Black Friday, and then all of a sudden everybody's running around like chickens without their heads, and everyone's up late on Thanksgiving night trying to get the sale ready and all those kind of things. They can quickly be that. They can also quickly become situations where you're just throwing random sales up because you want to bump your numbers for a month, and you don't really have any true strategy or philosophy of how to pick the right sale, the right promotion. Or you may not be talking to your customers at the right cadence. You may not be running promotions at the right timing and releasing products at the right time, and also talking to customers through emails and other things at the right time. All of this has to do with your marketing system, your e-commerce marketing system, and making a scalable one that is built with intention to actually grow your business in really healthy ways. And so you must have that. How do you get that? Well, in our world, we've developed an actual boot camp around e-commerce marketing. And you can actually go through our entire boot camp. We run you through all the steps and all the things you need to know for your team to scale a marketing calendar for your entire year that includes promotions and launches and regular content emails and offers and all kinds of things that are done in ways that create healthy growth that's profitable for your business and that is scalable, that's not full of chaos and not full of waste. If you're in e-commerce, you need to figure that piece out. And if you'd like to learn more about that, we will link to that as well. It's helped many brands actually create those systems in order to grow their business. All right, number 5, growth hacking can only get you so far. You really need a profitable business. In e-commerce, many times people are looking at the top line, the revenue number, right? How many sales did we get today? How are we up or down year on year? What did last year look like? What did Q4 look like? And almost everybody is looking at revenue, mostly because it takes a little bit more work to look at profit. It's really easy to cover up poor profit or unhealthy business techniques or an unhealthy business if your sales are really high. Now we've seen how this blows up when you look at someone like Casper Mattress, who, essentially were selling at a loss, which doesn't work, but a lot of businesses do that. And I don't know if they realized that or not, but they eventually blew up. This happens quite a bit. I actually hear more and more of those stories now than ever. And so you really need a healthy system. You can't growth hack your way to success. You need to grow in healthy ways with healthy strategies and use growth hacks where necessary, but don't live off of them. And so if you want to dig into that concept more, we have an entire program around healthy growth and how you can actually create profit in your e-commerce business. So many times e-commerce businesses don't realize that they've lost money at the end of the year. Even though they made $20 million in revenue, they actually lost money. That's not what you want. Okay, your profit should be 20, 30% of that number. And the way you do that is through healthy growth and healthy strategies. And so we have an entire program for that if you'd like to look at it, but that's number 5. Number 6, leadership, and especially CEOs and the C-level, must understand all the various strategies, at least at a certain level, and have trusted advisors in order for them to lead a business and put together strategies well. Okay, so oftentimes leaders may delegate things that they don't understand, whether that be technology decisions. I don't know how many times we've talked to businesses that are choosing to go onto a platform that might be BigCommerce, Magento, Shopify Plus, whatever that is. They may be choosing that because someone in their organization on the tech side has an opinion that that's the best platform, but the leadership and the business hasn't really made the assessment of whether it's the best platform for their business. This happens with marketing. This happens with getting into certain marketing platforms and different tactics, whether it be content marketing or social media marketing, etc. Leaders and CEOs must understand how all these things work together in order to put together the right strategy. And so how do you do that? Well, one, we put together an executive's guide to e-commerce marketing, which is written with the executive in mind, with the leader in mind, to not go too deep, but to go deep enough and understand how does this thing work and how does it fit into a strategy, and how do I know if it's right for me? How can I make a decision on whether or not we should be leveraging that or not? We also have e-commerce executive coaching, which is a way for us to be just trusted advisors with we have this vast kind of view of various different brands. We can be trusted advisors to an executive or to a founder and help them make decisions. And we can link to that in the description below. So that's number 6. Number 7 is your e-commerce website has to be intentional about nailing 9 steps to closing the sale. Okay. And so oftentimes we build a site and we hire a design team and they design something beautiful, but they may not be thinking through, or they may not have all the information to think through what are the things that have to actually happen. How are we going to design a site that actually intentionally walks someone through step by step, the 9 steps to make the sale? We need to be intentional about putting those 9 steps together. And so what are those 9 steps and how can you do that? Well, we've actually put together a series called The Perfect E-commerce Website. We'll actually also link to those 9 steps from here. So you can walk through those 9 steps of what it takes to close the sale. And also we have the Perfect E-commerce Website, which is a product that we've created, which essentially walks through how you implement those 9 steps across the core pages of your site. And it goes through every single template, what the purpose of that template is, and then actually gives you a wireframe for that. So if you're redesigning or if you're trying to measure your site against something, maybe your conversion rates are down, maybe you're not getting the average order value that you need to get. Maybe your ads are not performing. Some of these things indicate that your site may not be walking through those 9 steps appropriately, and they're not doing those things. And so we'll link to those below. Number 8, it is all about optimization. Getting someone into your world, especially these days, and it's only going to get worse. It's more expensive. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We just need to accept it for what it is. It's very expensive to get eyeballs, and it's getting increasingly more expensive. And even if it wasn't, it wouldn't even matter. Optimization is always good for the business. If you can make the most of every visitor to your website, then you are in a healthy business, right? You should always be looking to optimize that. And so what does that mean? Well, it's a philosophical thing to where whether it's paid ads, whether it's on your website, you need to have a culture of how are we going to improve this, right? How do we continue to improve just a little bit at a time? Now, that sounds really good, but the way you do that is where a lot of people fall short. And so we're going to link to a handful of resources and also a program that we have around CRO, which is conversion rate optimization. And if you can practically start to implement the idea of marketing sprints into your marketing team's daily routine or weekly routine of how they improve ads or how you improve the conversion rate on your website without doing kind of cliche things like testing button colors and those kind of things, but doing real tests that provide real results. Is your pricing right? Is your offer correct? Are we upselling and cross-selling and doing that in a way that's not hurting the sale? All those things come into the world of optimization. If you can do that well and you can make the most of every visitor, then your marketing becomes more effective. Every dollar you spend in marketing actually goes further and your business gets healthier. Number 9, diversify your marketing channels. And now I kind of alluded to this earlier in that the fact that you don't own most marketing channels that you are on, that is something that you need to be aware of. Be aware of unowned and owned channels. And now in addition to that, I would say that if 80% of your sales are coming from one channel, and especially if you don't own it, then you are ripe for disruption. And we want to avoid that. A healthy business is a business that's aware of the potential disruptions and is working to diversify and hedge against those, right? And so diversifying your marketing channels is really important because most people are addicted to only Facebook ads or only influencer marketing or only organic traffic. All those things are good. You need those kind of things. However, if all your sales are coming through one of those channels, we all know that Google changes their algorithms. I see businesses all the time that were doing certain amount of revenue, and then the algorithm changed for organic, and their traffic got cut in half, and their revenue got cut in half. We see businesses all the time that are advertising on Facebook, and then Facebook shuts down their ad account, and they're running around and for no good reason, because that sometimes happens. Even if that doesn't happen where your ad account gets shut down, we all know that a lot of these advertising platforms are getting more and more crowded and more expensive and harder to get results out of. And so diversifying is the way that you combat that. And you really need to do this in advance of the problem, because once you're in the problem, diversifying your channels takes time. You have to do it. You have to figure things out. You have to make investments that may not provide immediate results. Some of them can, like email, but diversifying your marketing channels is key. And if you're not doing that, then we've got a little guide on how you can start doing that. Number 10, marketing success is the sum of many parts. It's not just ads. And so this includes great ads, your brand, your pricing strategy, etc. I don't know how many times we talk to brands and they're telling us our marketing isn't working. Our ROAS is not where we want it to be. We want a 2x or 4x ROAS. And so, we fired our ad agency and we're looking for a new one. The truth is that marketing success, and let's call it ROAS, for example, is a compound metric. That means not one thing controls it. Your ads do not control your ROAS. Your marketing team, your paid PPC team does not control your ROAS, no matter what awesome ads that they create. And even if they get people in the funnel, they don't control your ROAS, because it is also part brand, part offer, part pricing strategy, part website. All these things lead into the marketing success of a brand. And so what does that mean? What do you do? Well, first of all, there's a philosophy that you have to agree to, is in that you're not going to be addicted to ROAS, because you have to realize that it is a compound metric and that it's a sum of the success of it. The success of marketing is the sum of many things. The second thing is you need to start honing in other things, not focusing just on your marketing. Start focusing on your offer. Like, what is your value skew? How do you build an irresistible offer? How do you remove risk? There are also 5 golden metrics to e-commerce that actually build the model for a successful e-commerce business. This includes things like, what are your margins and what's your average order value supposed to be? And things like, conversion rate and especially lifetime value. So there's these golden metrics that need to be dialed in if your e-commerce business is going to be successful and operate that way. And then lastly, on the idea of how do you gauge your marketing success? How do you gauge if your ads are working? We could talk about this forever, and we actually go into it pretty deep. I'll just go high level. First of all, almost everybody is focused on attribution. Which ad is working, which platform is driving sales, all direct attribution to these things. And the truth is that while you should know some of those things, you can't live on those things. You can't live on attribution only because, again, all the platforms work together. A customer doesn't just use Facebook. That person doesn't just use email. They use all those platforms and they have different purposes. And so you should look at attribution, but what you should really make sure you keep an eye on is this metric called ad spend ratio, ASR, AS over R. And we'll link to that article, but it's the idea of what is my ad spend to what is my revenue. It's that simple. And if you're inside of certain boundaries, you're safe and you're good. And those boundaries are a little bit dependent on certain businesses, but we've got a benchmark that you can look at for your business. All right, number 11, you have to be building a real and profitable business. And so you might say, obviously, yeah, this is, I'm building a business and obviously it has to be a real profitable business. But the truth is that sometimes individuals can get into e-commerce searching for easy money, and businesses, I've seen very mature businesses, can also adopt the philosophy of quick short-term wins and not look at long-term profitable growth. And so the truth is you have to get into, your business needs to be a real business. You need to have a real business model. You need to have a product that is actually really good. You have to focus on what is your business model and how does it generate profit. Are you going to be able to do great customer service and have the margins to do a warranty that de-risks the sale? Your business is not an e-commerce business. It's a business, right? And e-commerce is just a channel. And for it to be successful, you need to think about it as a business and not just an e-commerce thing or not just a marketing thing. And I say this because, you might think it's just for startups, but it's actually for bigger brands that have, sometimes I see a lot of bigger brands that have adopted a philosophy of short-term thinking, and that has hurt their business. And so think about it as a real business. And when it comes to valuation of your company, if you were to ever sell it, that is a big part of it. That part being profit. Profit is important. Again, if you want to figure out and understand and walk through how you create a healthy, profitable e-commerce business, then you go ahead and sign up for our healthy growth program for e-commerce businesses, where we actually walk you through that and we help you implement all the healthy strategies, not just the growth hacking strategies. Lastly, if you were to sell your business to someone like Doe, because we acquire businesses, or someone else, they'd be looking at this. They'd be looking at the profitability, right? They'd be looking at your customer list and do you own your customer and what's your lifetime value and all these kind of things. And so you really want to get those metrics up and look at it like a real business versus just a side hustle or just an e-commerce channel. So those are our 11 lessons that we've learned in 11 years of e-commerce. And there's a ton more, but I think you can continue to go. But at the end of the day, it's about choosing healthy strategies. E-commerce may seem simple, but it's business and it has to work. It's massively fun if you're doing it in a healthy way, and it's massively stressful if you're not doing it in a healthy way. No one wants a $20 million, $100 million business that loses money. So if you're interested in working with us, maybe your brand has hit a ceiling, maybe you're at the 6, 7, 8 figure mark and you need to get to the next level, and you'd like to implement healthy growth strategies to create profitability and long-term sustainable growth. Or maybe you're looking to exit your brand well, reach out to us and we'd love to talk. Thanks, and never stop growing.